Hello everyone, this is the Archfiend, and I have a full head of hair.
Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Sunday Sports Talk with the Archfiend. Now, it was a pretty slow week as far as sports go. I know right off the bat, a lot of you guys are going to be like, whoa, wait a second, one of the biggest sports stories in the history of sports happened, the Penn State University sex scandal and all that other stuff. Yeah, okay. Folks, I've covered them. I've talked about this subject. People are asking me, Archfiend, are you going to make a video about the Penn State University child sex scandal? I've already have. I've said everything I've needed and want to say about this. I have 2 videos talking about this already. There is nothing else I could say or do to just convey my thoughts about that whole situation anymore. Anyway, that's why they have the search bar function up there, people. If you want to know my thoughts about it, everything's been already, put on videotape, even though this isn't videotape. Anyway, it's been a so-so sports week. Nothing really too major happening. Drew Brees finally signed with the Saints. It was looking like he was going to hold out going into training camp, but he locked up a deal. I think he's getting paid $25 million a year. It's all well and good. Baseball. Oh boy. Undertaker Freak. I got a funny little story about Undertaker Freak I'll get to in a second. Undertaker Freak's favorite pitcher in the world, Justin Verlander, was breaking records left and right in the All-Star game because he gave up so many goddamn runs in the first inning. But anyways, the National League won, and they get home field advantage for one of the most ridiculous deciding factors to decide home field advantage in the history of sports by putting it on the line in the game's All-Star game. I mean, I still am vehemently against this. I'm vehemently against the designated hitter of the National League, and that's just all stories for another time. Anyway, funny little story about Undertaker Freak, alright? Yesterday I was talking to UndertakerFreak1127 on Skype. We turned our cam off and, put our clothes back on. Oh, I'm sorry, wait, forget that part. Anyway, we were talking online and he was going, oh man, this Baltimore Orioles Detroit Tigers game is great. It's going into extra innings, it's been back and forth, and I was like, I don't really care about those 2 teams, but it's on national TV, it was on Fox. So he was telling me how it was in the 13th inning and the game was tied. So I typed to him, and I shit you not, I said this to him. I said, alright, you know what, I'll turn it on since Baltimore's at bat, and I'm just going to jinx the game for you and watch Baltimore win. 10 seconds after I turned the game on, some guy named Teagarden, that's his literal name, his last name is Teagarden, quite possibly the most feminine, fruity name in the history of sports. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but it is. It's pretty fruity. Anyway, this guy Teagarden, who is like the backup catcher for the Baltimore Orioles, has to come in the game basically because they're running out of position players to put in the game. He has to come in. He hasn't had a single hit all year. In fact, he's never been used this entire year. Comes in and hits a 2-run home run 10 seconds after I turn the game on. Game over. Undertaker Freak cries on camera. So anyway, if you guys want to go to Undertaker Freak's channel or just his videos, just say, how about that Teagarden? He'll know what you're talking about. Anyway, moving right along, because I can only talk so much shit because my fills are shit in the bed. They won last night though. They almost blew it with a 4-run lead going into the 8th inning, but they won. It's a rare occurrence. Anyway, the NBA. Kobe Bryant earlier this week, I don't know if you saw this, it's getting around the time of the Olympics, and the USA team is facing a lot of chump change teams on the way to qualify for the Olympic Games, which they're going to qualify with no problem. Let's be realistic here. And they're beating up a lot of these third world nations and stuff that you would expect for the United States basketball team to do. Kobe Bryant, in the spirit of competition, decided to put it out there that this team of USA's compiled talent could beat the infamous, or just the famous, I guess it's not really infamous because they didn't really murder anyone or anything like that to become infamous. The super duper popular famous 1992 Dream Team. Kobe Bryant thinks this year's crop of talent would annihilate the 92 Dream Team. Now, I guess it's all arbitrary and there's no real way of, you know, figuring it out. I mean, of course, if the 92 Dream Team played today, they're obviously, you know, a bit long in the tooth and would get annihilated by a younger team. But that 92 Dream Team had a lot of the best players to ever play the game. Now, granted, Kobe Bryant is one of the best players to play the game, and as well as there's a couple other people that you'd put on that fringe group of best players of all time that are on this this year's current Dream Team. But this is something that I always wondered, why does he even bring this up? Why does he even have to say this? Because it's nothing that can be answered. And you're just going to get people that are loyal to old school, sticking with Jordan, Bird, Magic Johnson, those guys, Charles Barkley, versus the guys today that are like, oh man, they're flashier, they're quicker. I mean, you know, Bird and Magic were okay, but they're kind of stiff, they're not too flamboyant. There's no way of deciding it. It just causes people to argue back and forth. Now, one thing I would say that is to the current teams that play in the Olympics for the United States, that's more to their credit than compared to the 92 or just the previous United States basketball teams, is that the world talent is significantly better today. Significantly. You had a rare handful of players that were even playing in the NBA that weren't even born in America in 1992. Now it's commonplace to see 2, 3, sometimes even 4 people that weren't even born in America playing on a single team, let alone in the entire league. I mean, who were the foreign players back in 1992? Vlade Divac, Manute Bol, like, I mean, that's just the only ones I could think of offhand, and I followed basketball much more back then than I do now. Now, of course, I'm sure there's a lot more than that. My point is, if you think about today, you got guys like Manu Ginobili and Dirk Nowitzki. I'm not even going to name names because we all know there's much more people playing in the game today that are from other countries, and talent that plays for other countries in the Olympics that makes those teams better compared to what the 92 talent was facing. So anyways, it's a cyclical argument. It's going to go nowhere. And staying with basketball, Kevin Love. Do you guys even know who that is? Even you guys out there that follow basketball, do you know who Kevin Love is? This is probably one of the best players in the league, in my opinion. The problem is he plays for a really shitty basketball team called the Minnesota Timberwolves. He said something earlier this week that got some people upset. Some people are going, you know, good for him, you know, he should say this. What he basically said, and I'll just give you the summary of it, is that if the Minnesota Timberwolves don't make the playoffs, he doesn't want to play for this team anymore. All right? Now, people are upset because this guy is, as many see, a filthy rich millionaire. He should just shut his mouth and play for whoever gives him a paycheck. To other people saying, well, you know, that's right. If a team isn't going to assemble players around you to compete and you're this super talent, I mean, this is a guy that averages over 25 points a game, double-digit rebounds, shoots close to 40% from the three-point range. The guy is a total package. Any team would die to have someone like him on their team. But he's playing with a bunch of stinkers in Minnesota. And this brings up another point in that these guys that end up on teams like that, even Kevin Garnett, for example, who played on the Minnesota Timberwolves, basically, you know, played his rookie years, played his one extended contract, and then said, well, I'm not winning here. It's Minnesota. No offense to Minnesotans, but it's Minnesota. If you're a filthy rich millionaire, why do you want to be in Minnesota the entire winter? So that's why you see people like LeBron James leaving Ohio and coming down to South Beach. That's why you see Kevin Garnett packing up his bags and playing with other superstars in Boston. It's still a pretty crappy winter in Boston, but it's a lot more happening of a place than Minnesota. No offense, Minnesota. I used to live in Wisconsin. I know what the area's like up there. A nice big urban environment has a lot more things to do for a filthy rich millionaire than Minnesota does. Sorry to break it to you. But It is interesting, and this guy, you know, people would say like, you know, well, who the hell is he? You know, has he really earned his worth in the NBA? Some would say he has, some would say he hasn't, some would say he needs to just shut his mouth. And like I said earlier, accept, you know, playing for whoever gives you a goddamn paycheck because you're getting paid really well. You have no room for complaining. I myself, I can understand. And my understanding in that is one of the things that is wrong with the NBA. That is why people gravitate towards LA to play. That is why people gravitate towards South Beach. That is why people, when they become free agent, gravitate to wherever those other superstars are. Because who wants to be the lone cog on a team that is shit? Minnesota is shit. They finished dead last. They won 26 games last year. Have they even made the playoffs since Kevin Garnett left the team? I don't believe so. Someone may correct me on that, but I doubt it. So yeah, if I was him and I saw a team go nowhere and I was like, wow, I got to spend my winters every year in Minnesota, I don't know, maybe I'll take my chances going to Houston, you know? They've proven they can assemble winners. They've proven that they're a winning franchise down there. Granted, it was years ago, but puts things into perspective. And this is, you know, something anyone can have an opinion. You don't even need to be following sports to really understand this, because this is just general life frustration that Kevin Love is going through right now. And another thing with him is that I can feel is he's so much better than so many other players in the NBA, and there's so many other players in the NBA that have a more known name than him, simply because they don't play on shit teams. Like Kevin Love, your average basketball fan, just a modern fan, has no idea who he is. Until you see him play your home team, you're like, damn, that guy's pretty good. And then by the next week, you forget who he even was. So, I feel his pain, so, yeah. And I posted something on Twitter, just to kind of wrap things up here. I know this is going on pretty long. I asked you guys if you wanted to send in questions, because I don't want this all to be entirely just, you know, me telling you guys what I want to talk about. We can have like a Q&A type session. So if you want to email me something, send it to private message, or even post it on my Twitter. You don't need to leave it in a comment here or anything like that. I'm not forcing you guys to leave comments. And if you're wondering why I'm bouncing so much today, it's because I'm sitting on a yoga ball. I don't know, I just felt like adding that in at the end here. So, anyways, remember, tell UndertakerFreak1127, how about that tea garden? And everyone, have a great day, enjoy your sports, and don't worry, football season is almost here. Oh boy, it can't come soon enough. Have a great day, everyone.